Welcome, friends and neighbors, to our brand new show. I'm calling it Matside. I kind of want to call it Around the Mat, but I thought that was too obvious that I was stealing the idea from ESPN. And so I went with Matt. You and the homies are laying around, you're chatting it up, talking about Craig Jones, talking about Mason Fowler, talking about what's going down at Flow Grappling or the PGF or Combat Jiu Jitsu or whatever just happened for the weekend. So that's what this is going to be. But we're going to do it here in front of everybody because we're attention hogs. So, well, I am at least. I can't say that from my friend that joins me here. It's Mr. Matt Skaff. What's up, Matt Skaff? Introduce yourself to everybody.
Yo, what's up, guys? I am a first-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I've been in this sport now a decade plus. So, man, I'm a huge Jiu Jitsu nerd. If you guys know me, you guys know that my life pretty much revolves around this sport, whether it's watching it, coaching it, teaching it, practicing it. And so I'm excited to have a format, like some of these ESPN shows where, you get to kind of nerd out and you get to follow the sport a little bit deeper and you get to hear different people's opinions. And probably most excited to share my opinion. That's pretty much always going to be right. But now I'm really interested in listening and learning from others as well. And I think that's what's going to be really cool about Matside.
And joining us is Freddie. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Freddie.
What's up, guys? My name is Freddie Pedrique. I run the page BJJ World TV, and I've been training since about 2013, and now I'm located in Nashville, training under Sean Williams here at Renzo Gracie, Nashville. And shout out to BMAC and the crew for having me on. Really excited. This show is going to be really awesome, so I can't wait to take part in it.
Well, man, as I was kind of forming this idea in my brain, you're literally the first and most important person that I thought of to have on. You run you do a really great job with your social media, not just with the social media, but you're on top of what's happening in the sport. And I just feel like you're the perfect authority figure for something like this. So I'm super excited to have you on. But let's don't forget the man behind the scenes, Conscious Keelan. Keelan, say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
Yeah, that was a great introduction, Keelan. That was super strong. This is going to be a super huge success. I can feel it already. Wallow, yes, this is live on YouTube as well. Keelan, I need you to hit that super badge for me for Cody Hummel over here on Instagram. Oh, I'm so excited about that noise. That noise means somebody gave me some money. In this case, $1.38.
Let's go.
Oh, thank you. That's the noise that means you made a good point. So Keelan is kind of the moderator, right? That's the idea. And then Skaff, you're over there and some miracle, you say something intelligent and that Keelan likes, he's going to go just like that. And you get the Mario coin. And then one day when I make enough from super chats and super badges, we're going to add a counter. So we'll have a winner at the end. Maybe Keelan could just keep score on paper.
It would be kind of cool, dude. People like winners and losers, just like that. They just like that aspect of anything, right?
It's true.
Just like who's going to win, man.
And then the guy at the end, you get to everybody else gets muted and you get to say your piece, right?
Yeah.
You get to just go off and plug whatever it is you want to plug.
Yeah.
All right. Keelan, that means you got to keep score on paper over there.
Done.
All right. Good idea, Skaff.
You got a PMB.
What does that mean?
That's just the letters of our names.
Oh. And you just a little tax beside it. All right.
I went with Freddie's last name.
Pen. Oh, hold on one second. I got to get Keelan a pen.
Freddie, what's it like training up there at Renzo's? I've heard really good.
So I just got to Nashville last week. I used to train at the Renzo's in LA, and it was fantastic. Good group of guys, great instructor over there, Jaime Mendez, amazing, phenomenal instructor. I just moved out to Nashville just because of the cost of living is fucking awesome. And Sean Williams is out here, and Sean Williams is a legend of the game. Trying to learn from him as well. So Nashville so far has been fun, man. It's been fun training with Sean again. I love how he kind of teaches class, and like the kind of like way he like centers like the curriculum and stuff. So I'm really excited to get back to learning with Sean and stuff and seeing how my game grows from here. But so far so good, man. A lot of tough wrestling guys out here, that's for sure.
Very cool. One of our purple belts goes up there and he trains once a month usually. It's usually during one of the 11 a.m. classes, the no classes. So he's really enjoys learning and picking Sean's brain. He
Really?
says,
Oh, what's your friend's name, bro?
his name's Sean, actually.
Oh, his name's Sean too. Cool. I'll keep
Yeah.
an eye out.
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
a jacked, like 215-pound jacked purple belt, like jacked
Fuck.
CrossFit, muscles on muscle. Yeah.
He's got a soft heart though.
Yeah.
He's soft. His underbelly's soft. He calls himself the Barracuda. He's gonna be so excited that we brought him up on this.
Yeah.
But he calls himself the Barracuda, and he makes his own rash guards.
Oh,
that say
no
the
way.
Barracuda, and he bought us all rash guards for his own nickname.
The rash guards, Freddie, though, are sick.
They are pretty good rash.
Really awesome. So I definitely rock it.
I'll be on the lookout for a Barracuda rash guard in Tennessee next month or something like that. So that one, no.
Pull up this comment from Kai here, Keelan. Is this hat permanent? I don't know yet, man. You know, I was in Cancun for Combat Jiu Jitsu over the weekend, and I was like, I think I'm gonna buy another one of these hats, but that says Cancun on it. And so I got a blue one. It's some palm trees all over the hat. It's even, in my opinion, just another step lamer than this one. But I just like this white one. I don't know, man. I like this white one. When you look like this under the hat, it's very important that you have a hat of some sort. It doesn't really matter. I should get a point for that for sure, because that was true. Right off the bat, I'm up 1-0. Didn't even start talking about grappling yet. It's my show. I get a head start.
Yeah, if you're getting points for fashion advice, we're all in trouble.
All right, well, let's get started with talking about Combat Jiu Jitsu over the weekend. So I saw all weekend, Freddie, you were posting about the results. You were on top of the results and just popping them out. What are your thoughts on Combat Jiu Jitsu? Like, do you like it? Do you feel like it's not catching on? It's not... Go. Hot take.
I mean, like, to be honest with you, it is an EBI, right? We all fell in love with EBI, what got us all loving, no-gi jiu-jitsu. It's not that, right? So if I take away my emotion from that, then Combat Jiu-Jitsu is pretty awesome, man. Hard to not like it when pretty much almost every match ends in a submission, not even having to go into OT or anything like that. This weekend specifically, there was so many amazing matches. Roberto Jimenez, Derek Rayfield, amazing performance. It's just it took a lot of getting used to and to like, but now I could say that I could watch it and actually really enjoy the show.
Skaff.
I think what was established this weekend was something that CJJ has been missing, and that is a face for the sport. There really hasn't been anyone that's made me excited to watch CJJ. When I usually look at the card, there's maybe one or two top pro fighters. We saw Brandon Moreno, right? He did absolutely amazing. Awesome. So that was kind of cool. But this was before he fought for the title. But there hasn't been any like marquee names. That all changed. Roberto is the face of CJJ. If he commits to it, he will take it to the next level, just like the Donahue guys did for EBI. Roberto's the dude. He's the Gordon Ryan of CJJ.
Oh, that is a hot take. That was good, Skaff. Nice work.
Thanks.
I think what y'all are missing, though, here's what you're missing. Combat Jiu-Jitsu, in my opinion, is the evolution of Jiu-Jitsu to the next stage. Like, it's not just who's the best grappler. It's who's the best finisher when the fight turns to the floor. So anytime that the fight goes to the floor, if you're only grappling, you're only finding out part of the truth about a fight. But listen, when you go to the ground in Combat Jiu-Jitsu, like, you have to almost have a different style in some ways. Like, the clinch becomes super important. We saw what like you mentioned, Roberto Jimenez. He went 4-0 this weekend using closed guard and tight backs and old school triangles and clinching and hanging on to positions. He didn't really play. He has a modern feel to his game. He has a modern look to his game. He can deal with the modern game, but he's kind of old school, and that I don't think he took one shot. Did he take one strike all weekend? I don't think he got hit once, dude. Anyway, I feel like combat jiu-jitsu is the evolution, is the next layer of jiu-jitsu that we're really going to start finding out what really does work on the ground, because we got all these ground specialists, but their practice now, they don't have to split their time learning Muay Thai and learning wrestling, yes, still, but you have to learn the cage work and be on weight, and half your camp's about cutting weight anymore. You know what I mean? In order to find out what works when strikes are involved. Let's skip all that and let's put the jiu-jitsu specialist on the floor and let them hit each other and find out what really, really works when they're striking involved.
We also found out what doesn't work. And I think the most shocking thing to me was, just as Roberto was this new star that I want to see dominate 170, 185, and 205, and I think he can do it, and I think he will do it, was Nick Ronan's performance. Because he was the guy that I was looking to dominate. Like, I thought it was going to be him versus Nathan Orchard in the semis. They were going to have a war, and whoever won that would face Roberto. But Nick showed that you cannot play open guard like a modern jiu-jitsu player, because we're talking about a modern jiu-jitsu player, right? A lot of open guard, a lot of sit-up guard. He was just sitting up into slaps. And if that fight would have went an extra minute, he was getting knocked out.
Or
no
finished.
doubt in my mind. But I know Nick, man, he's I should say, I don't know him, but having watched a lot of his performances, I know he's going to come back better from this. And I think he just showed the jiu-jitsu community, look, you might be a top, because he is one of the best under 170 pounders in the world, but he just had a style problem. And you can't come into CJJ with that style.
Freddie.
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk about, Nick Ronan and the guy who beat him, you got to talk about the guy who beat him, Derek Rayfield, man, showing some incredible jiu-jitsu the whole event, using the rubber guard, which is what Eddie Bravo created, to kind of stop strikes. He didn't really take a lot of strikes, finished 2 people at Dead Orchard. Ironically enough, ended up meeting Nathan Orchard in the semis and lost. But, I think guys like Derek Rayfield could possibly be the future of this promotion, man. I think he's going to be, if he looked this good, and I believe this was his debut in a big tournament setting this way, I can only look forward to seeing this kid continue to compete. He's going to be amazing.
And, Derek's wrestling in college right now. He's just starting to get his wrestling education right now, and he's getting it at the college level. And then he's getting his combat jiu-jitsu education. He came up. I remember when Derek was a little kid, he used to be the little kid at HQ that Eddie, you had to leave the cage in order to set the timer or fix the timer. So you had to leave the mat area. And so Eddie would just be like, Derek, you're little, you're 11, climb the fence and reach over and change the timer. And he would just and climb the fence. And he would show off how flexible he was, putting his legs behind his head and all this weird stuff, But now he's a grown man. And you mentioned the rubber guard, how it prevented the strikes. Man, isn't it it's kind of fascinating. We see the rubber guard a lot in combat jiu-jitsu, but we don't see it that much in regular jiu-jitsu competition. I know my opinion on it, but what do you guys think? Why is it that we see the rubber guard so much more? Is it just a prevalence of more 10th planet guys, or is it that the rubber guard really does make a lot more sense with strikes?
I think I'll let you go first, Freddie.
Honestly, man, I think combat jiu-jitsu is the perfect scenario to kind of show rubber guard, right? Because you're keeping a high pressure on your opponent, keeping them down on you with your legs and stuff, preventing strikes. As to when I see it, in a competition setting, if you're not able to really finish the guy, it becomes kind of I don't want to say stalling position, but the guys can pretty much survive in this in that scenario where in combat jiu-jitsu you trap somebody with the rubber guard, and now you could just wail on them. You could start smacking them up, so makes for openings have to happen because people don't like to get smacked in the face. So I think for combat jiu-jitsu is perfect. And then I think for like other regular, no-gi worlds or other types of competition that are just strictly jiu-jitsu, I've seen it a lot where guys, can hang out there, pass low, and then survive. So I think it's just perfect for combat jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like what Eddie made it for,
If I have an athlete that has long limbs, especially compared to the weight they're competing at, I am having them rubber guard, like practice rubber guard all day long. The dead orchard is one of the best submissions, especially when strikes are involved. We saw that with Derek Rayfield. We've seen it with Nathan Orchard. We've seen it with Ben Eddy. I mean, what Ben Eddy did to, the gentleman from the UFC,
Wilson Hayes.
Wilson Hayes, yeah. I mean, Wilson Hayes was ranked number 4 in the world in MMA, and he got put out of there in under 2 minutes by the dead orchard. I do have an issue with rubber guard if you are a shorter limbed athlete. I think it's much harder to play, and especially if you're more of a stocky, let's say you're 185, stockier gentleman, and you're competing against guys that are also 185. I think you're going to have a tough time having any offensive success with rubber guard. And so for me, it's a person by person thing, right? I actually really liked Roberto's close guard. I think his close guard, kind of that really, it's like a lost art, what him and Kron Gracie do from that position. There's so many little subtle things that I think really need to be studied and brought back into jiu-jitsu. But the rubber guard is, man, you can't argue against its effectiveness to stop a strike.
Yeah, I think you guys made great points. I don't even have any new ones. Just that's what it's made for, man. The rubber guard was made to stop damage when you can't get back to your feet. Like, okay, I can't get back up here. What am I supposed to do? I have to find a way to stop damage, but still present offensive potential to my opponent. And that's what the rubber guard does. Really, in my opinion, it's the only guard that goes, I can stop you from hitting me and I can put you in danger at the same time. Like there's plenty of things that I can do that'll stop you from hitting me. I can just reach up and hold around you, but that doesn't mean I'm doing jujitsu anymore, So it's just been an interesting note. We see the rubber guard so much in combat jiu-jitsu, and I think maybe I was kind of expecting maybe to hear the argument that well, there's so many more 10th Planet guys, or of course people are doing it in front of Eddie or something like that. But I think it's just, man, when the strikes are coming, you want to do things differently.
Well, you also have to think of the top 10th Planet guys competing in CJJ, right?
Yeah.
And so we're seeing usually the two of the best 10th Planet representatives. So of course they're going to have super, super high level expressions of a 10th Planet movement, like, the rubber guard or the truck or whoever, whoever's competing. So I think that's a lot of it. But again, I'm still really skeptical, if you have a guy like, for instance, Chewy, right?
Okay.
So when Chewy competed in the combat jiu-jitsu, he was a brown belt, right? He had won the qualifiers. He's the type of guy where I just don't think he's going to have a lot of success with rubber guard, right?
Short.
Yes.
Normal amount of flexibility.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I feel you.
But you give Derek Rayfield that weapon, he's putting dudes out of there.
Yeah. Good guys. All right, let's go to the agenda here, Keelan. We need to move on to the next part. All right, I want to talk submission underground here. We can keep it pretty simple. There's only a couple of things to talk about with submission underground. Number one, do you like the rule set, or is there a problem with the rule set? Personally, I feel like 5 minutes is too short with a submission only, but I would like to hear what you guys think.
Man, dude, I gotta pick a bone with Chael Sonnen, man. Uncle Chael.
Uh-oh.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? You have probably right now the only like grappling show or grappling promotion on UFC Fight Pass, arguably one of the biggest now that EBI is not a part of it, or they haven't done it in a while, whatever it may be. 5 minutes is way too short, man. Like way too short. You guys have to step. I would say 7-10 minutes. That way, you guys get to engage. We got to see it with Mason Fowler and Craig Jones, where you could really stall and not engage for 5 minutes, get into the overtime, and play the rules and win. And yeah, you are playing the rules, but man, I have such a bone to pick with that 5 minute round, man. I just feel like it doesn't give the athletes enough time to go out to there and play their game. And if OT, if it's going to be if they're going by EBI rules, I think they should do EBI time slots and also do 10-minute matches. So that way, when it goes to OT, the guys have felt each other out, and it's just more fun. I don't know. I see these 5-minute rounds, and it's just sometimes when I put Submission Underground on TV, I don't even watch it, man. I just like hang out and just play in the background. It's just like not exciting to me.
I actually used to feel that way, but I'm actually come to really like it. There's a couple of really big benefits to having 5-minute matches. One is that if there's a boring match, because in my opinion, Mason versus Craig is always going to be a boring match. And so all you're going to do is add extra 5 minutes of them, of somebody not really engaging, looking to kind of play on the outskirts. And let's just get right into it. Who's going to win this? If it's going to EBIOT anyways, let's just get to it after 5 minutes instead of 10. And to me, it makes the show move along faster. I like that the shows are much shorter than EBI and Combat Jiu Jitsu. Something you can put on for an hour and a half on a Sunday night. You're not like staying up 4 or 5 hours to watch it. And exciting matches happen, right? But if there's boring ones, they're in, they're out. Moving on to the next one.
Go ahead. Real quick. Did you think Mason and Craig at ADCC was boring?
It was boring until they had penalized or they had gotten the score incorrect, and then Mason had to shoot in because there was only a minute left. And so the points are what forced Mason right, because he thought that he needed to score again. And so he shot in, and then he got guillotined. But I mean, he was going to win that match. I mean, he should be 3-0 against Craig Jones, but they're not excited. Mason, though, is an exciting grappler. I've seen him have tons of super exciting matchups.
You feel like that was just a style matchup?
It's just, he doesn't want to. I mean,
he
knows he can beat Craig in overtime. He doesn't think he can beat Craig in regular time.
Nobody wants to engage with Craig. Nobody wants to engage with Craig because as soon as you touch Craig, your leg gets broken. Like it's just that's like the law of gravity at this point. Like, well, hold on, for the 10th planet, some of the 10th planet folks, they don't believe in gravity. So you got to be careful when you say that. So I may should choose a different example. I got a point for that. I don't even remember what I was trying to say now.
Man, look, honestly, I feel like to progress this sport, we need to stop the non-engaging. Yes, it's a risk to engage with somebody that could break your leg, but the game is a risk regardless. We have to come up. If he wants to have a 5-minute, round, then we need to have some sort of like penalization or speeding up the process of things, because you're right. It is kind of nice on a Sunday night to watch like an hour show and then just be done with it. But then let's keep it that way, but then at least have them have to engage in some sort. Because when you watch 5 minutes of people running around each other, it just kind of, if I have a friend who wants to get into grappling and I show him Submission Underground, that might not be something that gets him excited. I don't see it.
I think there are some times when Submission Underground is really exciting. Let me say some good things about Submission Underground. I love Chael Sonnen. I love the fact that he carries the whole show by himself and he can talk nonstop. He never stops talking the whole time. He's an impressive person. It's pretty cool to watch. I like the look that he's got going on. I feel like it's a good look. Like it's kind of like it's got this little shtick, like it's underground in some corn silo in the country in Oregon. Like I kind of dig the vibe that Chael's putting out with it. I do not like the 5-minute matches. Hard stop. I don't like 5-minute matches. If they're going to engage, they don't need to be forced to by the 5-minute rule. They're going to engage anyway. They can put the 10-minute time limit on, and then they're going to be going at it, and somebody's going to be out of there in 3 minutes anyway. You know what I mean? So I feel like 10 minutes gives the better grappler longer to work. As a fan of grappling, I want to see that. But I understand what Chael's up to also, because he's not just bringing in jiu-jitsu dorks. He wants MMA fans to watch it. It needs to be shorter. That's right. And he wants regular people, like, like the wife. He wants the wife to sit down on the couch and watch the grappling match with the obsessed jiu-jitsu husband. He wants her to enjoy the show as well. And like what you said, the 5-minute mark does help that, because if it's going badly, if it's turning into a Mason versus Craig, and it's not like, oh man, we're going to EBIOT for sure, he's playing for EBIOT, 5 minutes is better than 10 of that. So, all right, let's go to the next. Let's move down the list here. Who's the new number 2? Who's the new number 2? So, what are we talking about? Gordon's out. So let's talk about Gordon's. He said it's not a retirement, but an indefinite leave of absence. Let's talk about that a little bit. Freddie, hit it first.
Dude, there's only one person who deserves the coveted number 2 spot. He's made a name for it. It's him. When you look at a silver medal, you think about this one person, and you guys know what I'm talking about, the legendary man, Craig Jones himself. It's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Now it's his chance to go out there and, continue to do what he does. Maybe he wins something. I don't think he's going to win anything important. He's just going to continuously just own this role of who's number 2. And I think it's great branding. With the tournament, who's number 1, you got your clear-cut winner, who's number 2. And I think he's going to continue to enjoy the beautiful, sweet silver spot until he just walks away into the sunset and just retires. Man, I think that one's an easy one, guys.
Yeah, you don't feel like he's challengeable. Who's the potential number 3 like right now? Who's number 3? I guess is the better question.
I personally don't have Craig as the best guy in the world, no gi, right now.
Okay, you better talk it.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say, I think the most important thing people are missing is this huge conspiracy going on. Gordon isn't retired. He's coming back. This is what happened, all right? A couple of days ago, Andre Galvao just committed to doing the 2022 ADCC super fight.
Mm-hmm.
So Gordon retires, says that he's out. John Donahue goes on the Joe Rogan show and is like, it's just really tragic. We don't know if he'll ever train again. We don't know if he'll ever compete again. Andre Galvao hears that and he's like, dude, I am committed to doing this super fight now. I'm going to, I'm the man again. Gordon is 100% going to do that super fight. And if Andre then backs out, it's the end of the legacy. End of his legacy. It'll be gone.
So now, didn't Flow Grappling, though, say that was not the case, that Andre had agreed to do this ahead of time? I'm correct on that. I am correct on that.
Yeah. Mo shared a screenshot showing a message from Andre Galvao saying, it was like May something, saying that he was fully committed to doing the super fight. And I think Gordon just retired like 2 days ago. So something like that.
Okay. So maybe I'm a little off then.
Well, but they gave the date on the post. I think it was May 1st that they gave as the date that Andre agreed to go and do the super fight, but they just hadn't announced it yet. Fishy, little fishy. Yeah. I don't know about that. That feels a little fishy. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Here's what I need to know, and I don't know the answer. Conscious key. When did what was the date that Danaher was on the Rogan show? If it was before May the 1st, then we got our answer. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, but this is how I feel though about Craig being the new number 1.
Dude, it's DAN. I love watching him try to spell Donner. That was amazing. DANAHER.
I got
we
you.
got a ways to go before we hit that young Jamie status, dude.
It seems like it was May 28th.
May 28th. So it's okay. So when did they say in the post that he committed to the super fight?
You said it was May 1st.
I think it was May 1st.
It's on Mo's.
It's on the
Mo's
same
Instagram.
The same one where they announced him subscribe. Hey, while we look for that, Keelan, give me a womp super chat over here for Heart Attack DSU 10P. Bought a badge.
But This is how I feel about Craig though being there. I just don't think Craig is. He's not number one. He's not even number two in my mind. Now he's the people's number two, which
He's the people's number one.
No,
Yeah.
Craig
Gary
is the
Tonin is
Okay, no, that's
people's
true.
number one.
Okay,
Gary
that's true.
Tonin is America's heartthrob. We all love. If you don't like watching Gary Tonin grapple,
You need to just get out right now.
dude. Craig, it's Gary, Craig are the two. Like, anyways, he is the new people's champ since Gary is in MMA, right? And he's
Okay.
the one consistently doing it. But you can't. He's lost to Mason Fowler a couple times. He doesn't have any ADCC golds. Like if I said, hey, next year ADCC, who's going to win gold? Kynan or Craig? And I know they're in different weight brackets, but I'm betting on Kynan all day, you
Just
know,
because of the rule set.
but Kynan's a submission grappler too. He gets lots of submissions. He has a win over Craig. I think Kynan's probably the best guy in the world right now. Like if I just had to say, hey, I need somebody to go win a tournament, I'm picking Kynan. Like, we each have to choose somebody to go win a $50,000 tournament. And unless that rule set is purely sub only, no time limit, I got Kynan Duarte as that's the guy I'm choosing.
Well, I feel like we're all forgetting JT Torres. He might be the best no-gi player in the world right now.
I don't think JT's even top 10.
Dude, are you kidding me?
JT hasn't had a submission.
JT can. Oh, I got a poot noise. He made a poot noise.
Keelan loves submissions. JT hasn't had a submission in no gi since like 2015.
But you can't beat him. You can't beat him in any rule set. You can't tap him in sub only. And if you do anything, he took my face off the screen. If you're fighting him in anything that has points, you can't beat him at that.
I think there's some guys that are going to beat. He's so close to losing. He's only winning by either ref's decision or 2 points.
I think the only reason we don't talk about JT Torres the way we talk about Craig Jones or Gordon
he's boring
is because he's not a social media
dude.
guy. He doesn't jump out there and
he couldn't even pass Ross Nichols' guard.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, first round, like every single one of his matches are like, yes, he doesn't make a mistake, but he doesn't do anything that exciting. He doesn't take any chances, and you can't be the number one guy in the world. You can't even be top 10, in my opinion, if you're not subbing dudes. Like if you're not subbing the best guys, and like if there's guys out there like Kynan that's consistently subbing or consistently going after, Craig Jones, those are the top 2-3 guys in the world. Right.
All right, let's roll back to the agenda here, Coach. Yeah, Richard Schonecker said it wouldn't be a show without 10th Planet conspiracy theory for sure. All right, so that's who's the new number 2. I think.
So you think Craig's number 2? You think he's
I
the
do
best
think
guy in the
Craig's
world? Like with
behind
Gordon never
Gordon.
competes again, you think Craig is the best?
Yeah, I'm gonna crown Craig right behind Gordon personally, but I just don't think anybody's close to Gordon. I don't think anybody's 75% as good as Gordon.
Nobody's close to Gordon.
I've never seen. I'll take Gordon over anybody in the world all time right now. Like right now, I hadn't trained in a month or whatever. I'll take him right now.
Agreed.
For the submission.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, listen. I hate to kiss Gordon Ryan's butt because he drives me crazy sometimes on social media. But if you can't say that, then either you're not paying attention or you're not being honest with yourself. So that's just, thank goodness I got some points back. I got pooted. If you get pooted, that should be a negative point. You lose a point if you get pooted on. If Keelan poots on you, that means you lost a point. Hey, what's the score right now? I need to know if I need to sound smarter.
B-Max got 10. Skaff has 12. Freddie has 9.
Oh, Freddie, you suck, dude.
This is tight, dude. This is tight.
How did you get 12? Is that because I got pooted on?
Dude, because I know what he likes. He likes submissions. You start talking about that doesn't do submissions. You're getting like Keelan doesn't believe in anything other than submissions.
All right.
Bring those.
Who do you
points.
think's number 2, Coach? What you think?
I mean, I would just say Craig. Y'all said it all. Craig, he's the man right now. If it's not Gordon. I don't know if number 2 even matters, though. Number one's all that really
It
matters.
honestly doesn't. There's a hole in the sport right now. And that's why I'm super excited about CJJ, because if Gordon's not competing, it's kind of like, who's number 2 exactly? But I want to find out who's number 1 in CJJ.
Well, right now we got a name.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple of names in CJJ. I hate to
Dude.
go backwards to CJJ. Actually, I don't hate it that much. I like Combat Jiu Jitsu a lot, but
Tackett,
good.
185, dude.
We've got people that have already went 4-0 with all submissions in Combat Jiu Jitsu. Brianna St. Marie, she went 4-0, 4 arm bars, didn't take a strike almost. You know, that's pretty cool. Thor won all 4 of his matches by submission and didn't take a strike.
There's only 2 performances in CJJ.
Tom Halpin.
That reminded me of okay. Tom Halpin's a great example.
Tom
So
Halpin's
I guess 3.
performance was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. You're right.
So he should get pooted on for that.
He got a point instead.
All right, go back to pull the agenda up again. Okay, yeah, I'm super interested to hear your thoughts on this. Me and Skaff have talked about this already, and I know he's got a hot take on it. And actually he covered it on his podcast, the Grappling Discourse podcast. You can check it out. Not to plug my arch nemesis over here, but the Mikey Musumeci's comments. Wait, first of all, do you say Musumeci or Michi? Where do you stand on that, Freddie?
Oh man, Musumeci. That's what I've been
You
saying.
go
all my
Mechie,
life.
Skaff.
I did until like this last who's number 1. They were saying Michi.
What about you? Got to pick.
I say Mikey Musumeci,
Mm.
but it's Musumeci, I think.
Is it? Oh man.
I used to say Musumeci, and then I switched when I started hearing the people
Yeah.
that flow grappling say Michi. I was like,
Yeah.
dang it. I thought I had that one right for sure. Okay. His recent comments about the state of gi versus no gi and what he's going to be doing with his competitive career. Hit it, Freddie.
To be quite frank with you, I didn't pay attention to exactly what he said, but I will say that I'm really excited to see him move from gi into no gi. Just because, man, the kid's fucking talented, right? Like, we've been seeing him do this stuff since he was 16, even younger. I remember watching him before I even started training jiu-jitsu, and he was like a little color belt, just kicking ass all over the world. I'm really excited to see him train no gi, man. He's gonna do great. He seems like almost every match that he's in, he submits people. So I'm really excited to see him against June. He's somebody who's up and coming, awesome leg locker. But yeah, I know I don't want to cut into the segment that we'll be getting into, but yeah, I'm actually really excited to see Mikey in the no-gi game. Hopefully at ADCC, because that'd be really fun to watch.
Skaff, give Freddie the context of what we're talking about, and then hear your thoughts on the comments.
So before Mikey had did his first who's number 1 matchup, he said he did not train no-gi one time. He was training gi 7 days a week.
Holy
But
shit.
when he went to who's number 1, he was blown away by the reception, by the professional, just how professional it was, and he loved the format. And he said the next day he started only training no gi, and so he took a match immediately. And yeah, he's been training no gi since. And then after this last one, he said that he's like, no, I'm committed to doing no gi. He said no gi has made me excited again. I think it is the future of the sport.
Pretty heavy comments from a guy who's he's been I don't want to say the face of gi jiu-jitsu,
American gi jiu-jitsu.
but
He's the GOAT of American.
How many
gi
times did he win the
jiu-jitsu.
worlds in the gi?
3 times. He only won it 3.
Really?
Mhm.
Just 3?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? 3 times this
Yeah.
dude won. I actually
Yeah.
thought it was like 6.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about black belt level.
Yeah.
But overall, he's on the color belts. He's
Oh, yeah.
cleaned up.
Probably 100 times counting all the kid belts and
You
stuff.
know?
But yeah, man, those are some pretty heavy comments. I feel like that's been the case for a long time, and we're just now seeing some of these guys that are high level. Mikey's as high level as you get in the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu pedigree. Who can you ask? How can you have a higher pedigree than what he has? And so for him to say, "Yo, the future of the sport lies in no gi, not in gi. In fact, it lies in no gi so much that I'm dropping the gi out of my routine so that I can focus exclusively on this. But that's a huge statement to the state of the sport from one of the sport's biggest stars. And since he's switched over to no gi, man, he's getting a lot more press than he's ever gotten. You know, like people are finding out who this guy is for the first time. Some grappling fans for the first time because they don't watch the gi tournaments. Like I don't know anything about the gi, bro. I don't know anything about the gi tournaments. I can't bring myself to watch it. And so I'm 100% on board with what he's saying. That's what I'm talking about. Got that point.
Well, that goes to talk about like what we were speaking, before we went live, right? Where we were talking about where we see jiu-jitsu in the next couple of years. Is the gi just going to stick to Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like as we know it, BJJ, and then no gi moves into his own thing, which is going to be called, submission grappling or something like that, where the sport is going to have to split into two, and ultimately the no gi version, the submission grappling, whatever we decide to call it, is going to be the more popular, the more readily available for like the masses and stuff. Like you said, it's not watching gi tournaments is not that fun. I can't say that they're all boring matches because they're not. I've seen amazing gi matches. Correct. And then, people who say otherwise, it might be very biased to one side of the sport or not, but I do agree with Mikey saying the future of the sport is in no gi because look, like you said, look at the last couple of years. The biggest stars are no-gi stars. All the money seems to be in the no-gi tournaments. Like it just seems to me that in the next couple of years, you're going to have two completely different sports. And you're going to have dudes who just do no-gi and do submission grappling, and then just dudes who stick to gi. And then we'll really see how everything falls after that.
Count Films TV. If we could give him a point, we would do it. He said BJJ is forking like Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's a dorky comment right there. So congratulations. That was good.
3 big things, right, for no gi. The biggest being the Joe Rogan podcast. Who's he buddied up with? He keeps bringing on Donahere, Craig Jones, Gordon Ryan,
Eddie Bravo.
Like Joe Rogan has the potential. I mean, dude, Fauci has to, if Joe says something about a vaccine like Fauci, people have to comment. Joe's opinion is one of the most respected opinions in the world. And he is also saying like, oh, look, no gi's the future, right? So that's huge. Mikey coming over is big. If Nicholas Marigali also comes over, gi's over, at least for the foreseeable future, because those were the 2 most exciting guys to watch. Nicholas Marigali is must watch in the gi. He is one of my favorite grapplers, and he never competes no gi. But there's some rumblings. He's thinking about doing the next ADCC. So if he comes over, and again, Mikey, gi's is really going to take a huge step back. And then that last one is just money. Where's the money at right now? What does the UFC want? They want more no-gi content.
Yeah. So just
know about that.
Yeah, I get to work behind the scenes with Fight Pass just because of Combat Jiu Jitsu. And I don't know the folks at Fight Pass, but I'm around the staffing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they can't get enough no-gi content. They want more and more and more. They're always pushing Eddie. Like, we want more Combat Jiu Jitsu, more Combat Jiu Jitsu. And they're pushing on Chael. We want more Submission Underground. They can't get enough of the no-gi Jiu Jitsu content. They want more and more and more because people are consuming that at a higher rate than anything else on Fight Pass besides the UFC.
Yep.
I mean, that right there, that tells you everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for casuals.
Let's hit that agenda, Coach. What's next on the list? Oh, PGF. Oh, no, we got to talk Mikey versus Junie before we go to PGF Season 3. All right, so Mikey coming onto the scene. We just transitioned straight out of, his comments and into his next match at who's number 1. He's 2-0 at who's number 1 right now, right? His last matchup against Pinheiro, that was Pinheiro, right? Lucas Pinheiro. I mean, he blew him out of the water, dude. It seemed like Mikey had only done no gi. He had never trained in the gi. Like he took to the backside 50-50 like a fish to water. You know what I mean? So, and then immediately people go, okay, how's he going to do though when he gets his hands on a real leg locker? Well, we're going to find out when he gets his hands on Junie, because Junie's a real leg locker. Like he puts people away. He knows how to get underneath his opponent. We're going to see, can can Mikey not only stay out of the legs, but if he gets caught in there, can he engage and fight back in the legs? Or is this going to be a hole in his game in the beginning of his switch over right here?
Personally, I think this is going to be a blowout. I
Okay.
think Mikey subs him 10 times out of 10. Mikey didn't train no-gi, right, leading up to his first match. A month later, he looks like one of the best leg lock. I mean, that was one of the
was
best
beautiful.
backside 50-50 just from control, just from his entries. This kid is special. This guy is a jiu-jitsu savant, right? Whatever he puts his hands on, he's going to turn to gold, and he's putting his hands on no-gi. So he's the best guy in the world, and I think he's the best guy he's the little guy Gordon Ryan. Like when the 2 matches I've seen him in no-gi, and obviously in the gi just murders, but there's just a level of excellence that his opponents don't have.
All right. Well, I mean, you guys got to go with Mikey. I got to switch it up. We gotta go against the grain here. I'm gonna say, Judy's gonna upset. He's gonna come out,
Man,
gonna put on a performance. I feel like he's right at that cusp. He just needs that like one win to kind of like break him into the next level. Granted, Mikey's a huge win to break into the next level. But seeing how Junie's been performing at these fight to wins, and seeing how submission hungry he is, a lot of his wins come from finishes. I feel like this is, like you said, it's going to be a hole of the first big hole that we could potentially find in Mikey's game. And I think Junie's just at the perfect time and the perfect place to just kind of ruin everybody's party. So for the sake of the show, I think Junie's going to come out and upset and surprise a lot of people.
Well, you make a good point. Like if ever there was a time and a place to get Mikey in no-gi, now's the time. And if there was a guy that's capable of doing it, Junie is that guy. I think he's one of those guys that could maybe take advantage in the leg department if it's going to be there. Is it going to be there? I don't think so. I gotta go with Mikey super hard on this one, just because I think he's number one until proven otherwise in no-gi right now. So, all right. So let's close it up with talking about the PGF just a little bit. So I want to, that's my promotion. So I want to make sure I do a little plug if we're going to talk about all the grappling that's going on. The PGF, we're going into season 3. We got 170 pounders is what we're looking for. We're looking for 16 roster spots. All right. We're having 5 qualifiers around the country. Keelan, can you pull up pgfhome.com? And let's just look at location and dates for the qualifiers. Will be right there on the top of the screen. So June 26th, you just click that button. If you want to register, it's $100 to register. The winner gets an auto invite into season 3, right? So that's going to be true at each qualifier. That means there'll be 11 roster spots left. And those 11 spots will only be filled by people who participate in the qualifiers. So we're coming to Louisville, Kentucky on July 10th. We're coming to Austin, Texas in October. We're coming to Atlanta, August 14th, Jacksonville, September 11th. We're looking for anybody that's under 170 pounds, any belt rank. So it's open rank, it's open style, it's open experience. It's just about the weight and who can bring exciting jiu-jitsu and fun stories. Like, with PGF, I've said this on a couple of different interviews. I'm not necessarily super interested in finding out who's the best jiu-jitsu player in the world. We know who the best jiu-jitsu player in the world is. It's Gordon Ryan. If we want to figure that out, we'll just write him a check. You know what I'm saying? What we're interested in doing is creating storylines, real matches, but a story that we get to see each week. I like seeing people get dunked on. I think that's cool too. So if you're a blue belt and you think you got the hot sauce, come on in there, jump in, and let's see what's going on. So that's the story on the PGF for season 3. I got a couple of names. I'll throw them out there just to kind of tease some potential guys for season 3. So Keith Krikorian, I'm going to put that pressure on him just a little bit. I know we've heard that Keith wants to be involved in season 3. Look, man, that would step the level up pretty good. We had Hunter Colvin for season 2. Of course, we got Elijah, who's a superstar, I think, in the making. And Hunter smoked everybody last season. Keith could be that guy for season 3, no matter who enters, right? Mikey Gonzalez, who we just saw at CJJ. He wants to do this thing. Todd Walling, who we just saw at CJJ. There's a couple other black belts that both want to be involved in season 3 and that are going to be coming through the qualifier. So if you're wanting a shot at those guys, even if you don't make the season, all those guys are planning on coming through the qualifier right now. So I'm really interested to see what happens with it. It's my little pet, my little baby. Freddie, have you been able to keep up with any of the PGF stuff yet? Have you seen any of it going down? Oh, I might have lost him right there. Go ahead, Skaff.
Yeah, man, I think 170 is going to be a really exciting season. I really have become fans of blue belts. Like, that's the thing that shocked me the most, how much fun I've had following the underdogs and seeing some special performances in season 1 and season 2. There's really, man, just a lot of talent that has been coming through the PGF, and I think it's going to just keep getting better and better. But we do need guys that are hungry out there that are ready to prove that they can compete with a guy like Todd Walling or Mikey Gonzalez or Keith Krikorian. We need people to step up. They're like, no, I'm a blue belt, I'm a purple belt, but I know that I can beat a brown and black belt, because there are blue belts that are capable of that, right? And if you go out and do it on a show like the PGF, I mean, you're going to get fans, you're going to get more looks from other promotions, and you're going to also just really just raise your own stock.
One of the things that I love the most about the PGF is exactly what you said. If what do people love about the NCAA tournament? What do basketball fans love about
Upsets,
the NCAA
baby.
tournament?
12-5.
They want to see the 12 seed beat the 5 seed. And in the PGF, we've had 2 seasons so far. In both seasons, we've seen multiple times that a blue belt tapped a brown belt. And that happened. We had 1 blue belt tap 2 brown belts this year in season 2. Like, if that doesn't excite, when you're watching that, you get so pumped for that dude. You get so jacked, and you become a fan of his story as it goes on. And people don't remember that blue belt getting dunked on in week 1. You know, he got tapped hard, bam, bam, in his first 2 matches. Talking about Evan Stapler. He got tapped hard in his first 2 matches. But he came out and he tapped a brown belt, I think in week 2 or 3, and then he hit another one a couple of weeks later. And so you're just seeing this storyline develop. You're seeing a guy get better and starting to believe in himself more and more as the season goes deeper. So that's definitely my favorite thing about the PGF is the 12-5 matchups. What do you think, Freddie? You think we're going to be able to get some real names into the PGF for season 3?
Oh, dude, absolutely, man. Just, talking about, possibly Keith, a guy that I'm a big fan of, Elijah Carlton. Seeing him there would be amazing. And like you said, man, I think America loves the underdog, right? So it's awesome to see you continuing to build, these guys' story. If like you were mentioning right now, seeing the blue belt tapping out the brown belt, tapping out the black belt after having such a bad start to the season, you become a fan. So I'm very much looking forward to season 3, especially if you have like guys like Keith, guys like Elijah. It's definitely going to be some fireworks, and I'm really excited about getting to watch season 3, man.
What do you guys think about the rule set? We've had two seasons now to look at so the idea on the rule set was we wanted to just have submission only. Like, I didn't want there to be any overtime. I didn't want there to be any way to game the system and get points, just true submission only. But I also needed shorter matches. Can't just have submission only all night for a whole week. Like, that's insane. We've never had time to finish that. So I had to have a way to have 6-minute matches really fast. So kind of Chael's idea, fast matches. And another thing, I had to have a way to make the draw meaningful. So the draw has, like, 0-0 has to be an actual outcome rather than, well, we didn't really settle anything. No, we settled it. You both got 0, right? So the choke for 6 points, I made that change this year from 7. Joint lock continued to be 3. And then we gave 1 point if you finished in under a minute with any submission. So you could get 4 for a joint lock, or you could get 7 for a kill. So do you feel like over the 2 seasons that rule set has proven to be good? Has it proven to have giant holes? Go ahead, Skaff.
People love it, man. People love it. I think it's one of the things I really like about the PGF. The fact that you're prioritizing a part of grappling that has been a little bit, more recently been being underutilized just because so many people were just using joint locks, specifically leg locks in the no-gi scene to win. And there were a lot of easy taps to get, especially if your gym, wasn't leg lock heavy and you weren't learning a lot of the new system. And so the PGF really said, hey, look, you break somebody's leg, the fight's still not over, but you put somebody in a choke, it's a kill. You will die, right? And there's something really final about that. Like, man, you get a rear naked choke, that is the end all be all. It's the most efficient way to kill somebody, right? I love it. I love it.
I think the perfect example of what you're saying happened in season 1 when Caleb McAllister got put to sleep. Like, he would have never tapped. He was undefeated. He had beaten everybody by submission, and he would have never, ever tapped in 1,000 years to a joint lock. Jonathan Roberts was going to have to kill him. In fact, the only reason that Caleb is still alive today is because we dragged Jonathan Roberts off his neck. You know what I mean? And so I think that match, like, maybe one day the PGF is really great, like really huge, and we have a Hall of Fame. I think that match, more than any that we've had in 2 seasons, is a testament, when you know the story of the season, is a testament to the validity of the rule set.
Yeah, and you see guys hurt, like, right? Matt Elkins hurts his knee. Now, it wasn't from a joint lock, but same thing, right? Coming up on a calf slicer, leg gets caught, pops his LCL. He finished the season. Caleb's dead.
Yeah. So what do you think about the rule set, Freddie?
I think it's exciting, man. I think
I'm certainly interested in your opinion.
I think it's exciting because like you were saying, people love to watch that type of stuff. I think it's the point system makes it exciting because you have to, like, you kind of know what you kind of need point wise as you get into that match. So you might not, like you're saying, I attack a leg lock here, it comes easy. Now, like, knowing I need a certain amount of points, I need to get a rear naked finish, get the kill. It gets the matches really exciting, and I feel like it's kind of like how I'm a big fan of what PFL does with when they do their tournaments. When they have points for theirs are a little different. It's just a points for like a some sort of finish, and if it goes to decision, and it's kind of, I'm a huge soccer fan. I love seeing, when teams win, they get 3 points, they draw, they get 1 point, they lose, they get 0 points. And it kind of just builds like this table. And you see like who's at the top of the table, who's racking up the most points, and usually is the most exciting grappler, right? So, man,
twice it's been the best guy won.
Exact. So I think the rule set it's awesome, not only because of it's unique, but it's exciting, and it keeps athletes having to go for that finish. And there's a hierarchy of finishes. So I think it's great, man. I think you say, if we're big one day, I think it's more when you guys are big one day. I think that a lot of more promotions are going to be trying to take this approach.
They can't do it. It's too hard. It's too much work. That's one of the things that I think gives me a real competitive advantage. I don't have to sleep or eat or anything like that. I'll just obsess. Because it's a ton of work, because we're putting together, basically we're making the Ultimate Fighter series, not just a show or one movie. We're making a whole season of a series, plus all the preseason stuff that we're going to be doing now with the qualifiers, and we're going to try to have a draft before the season starts. And then, now we're talking about it in post. I'm trying to put together, like, I want to make the whole media empire. Like, we don't have that. We have it with Flow, but it's all behind the paywall, right? For the most part. So I'm super excited to try to build some, I guess, social media, but having a guy like Freddie on here who's so connected in the sport, having Skaff, with your podcast and like your obsession and dorkiness level over jiu-jitsu. I think when people kind of get the hang of when people find out what you're about, you're gonna continue to do really, really well, man. I'm super grateful to you guys for coming on and doing this with me, man. I had a great time. Keelan, what's the score over there? I need to hear the score.
So
we have final result. You got to put the camera on you as you announce it, Dave. Come on, man.
First place, we have a tie.
Oh, it's me for sure.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, we already had a drum roll.
Skaff and B-Mac.
Hey!
Both have 16. Freddie is in a close second place or third, however you look at it, with 15.
Okay.
It was
Man,
a hard
if I
fought
hadn't
battle.
got pooted on.
Yeah.
Dang, I just lost my last point. I'll concede the victory to Skaff. I concede victory to Skaff. So let's give him the floor to close the show. It's all yours, Skaff.
Okay. I want to talk about something important in grappling today. I think really this is one of the most important things you can do as a grappler. And it's just making sure that you always stay positive. Too many times guys come in and all they think about are wins and losses, taps in the gym. And it's one of the easiest ways to burn yourself out and to honestly start to fall out of love with the sport. What you need to do is you need to have a game plan when you go in. Have a training strategy. Look to do 1 or 2 movements that you want to get better at and set achievable goals. At the end of training, always think of 3 positive things you did and 1 thing that you can do to work on. I want everyone to continue with this sport, not only because I think it's really, really a beautiful expression of the way the body moves, but I think the other benefits outside of the mat room are one of the most beneficial things you're ever going to do. So, guys, please stay positive. Don't get down on yourselves.
All right, word. Thanks, Skaff. You went with the positive message route. I thought you were going to plug your podcast, but you went.
Nah, man,
That's why you're the people's champ,
it's
dude.
more important, dude. More important people stay positive and keep training.
Even more important than what you were just saying is that I want everybody to go to www.brandonmc.ninja and buy my instructionals. This is how I feed my children. My children are starving to death right now. I haven't fed them in over a week. I need you to buy some of my stuff. Don't forget.
Wait,
BrandonMC.ninja.
didn't you go to a Brazilian steakhouse last night?
BrandonMC.ninja. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you.